What's happening, everybody? Jack Jones here. Welcome to another Motivation Monday. So the title of this video is that success will not make you happy, and I bet a bunch of you clicked over here thinking, what is this guy talking about? So there are a couple of caveats I want to point out, and the main one is that what I'm saying is that the worldly idea of success, the idea that if you make a bunch of money, if you have fame, if you are really good looking, if you have respect, if you have a big house, if you have fancy cars, those in and of themselves will not make you happy if that is not what you truly want out of life. So I think the main distinction here is that we get thrown a lot of layers of crap on top of us that we start to take within us. So our television and our media and our culture starts to tell us these things from a very early age. They say, like college, for example, how many people are right now, how many of you watching went to college because that was something that you thought would make you successful, that you thought would make you happy, but maybe you didn't, there was nothing in college that you wanted to study. Maybe you had no idea what you wanted going in, yet you dropped what? $30, $40, $50, $100,000 of debt that cannot be discharged in order to go do this thing that the world told you should do. So that's just one example. But there are so many things in our world today that other people tell us we should be doing because that will make us, quote unquote, a success. And my assertion here is that anything that you do that doesn't come from your heart, in the end, will not make you happy. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter how fancy of a car you drive. It doesn't matter how big your house is. It doesn't matter how many PhD diplomas you get. If you're doing those with the wrong intention for the wrong reasons, then you're going to reach the end of that very long, hard road, and you're going to realize, wow, you're probably going to be much more depressed and much more unsatisfied than you were starting out. So I'll give you a good example from my own life. So back in 2012, I had graduated from the School of Accountancy at the University of Missouri. I got my master's in accounting, and I had gotten that master's because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and I had thought, well, accounting is a stable job, it's a good paying job, it's a good degree, so I'll just go ahead and get that in college. Well, I had no intention of being an accountant. I worked at 2 different firms and just absolutely hated it, and I was looking for something else to do with my life. So at that point, that was when I started The Healthy Gamer, because I really, really loved fitness and I really loved video games. And so I started Healthy Gamer and I got my personal training license and I started training some clients. And my intention back in 2012 was to work part-time as a personal trainer because I can make enough money to get by and then spend the rest of my time and work on Healthy Gamer and grow Healthy Gamer, because I knew eventually if I can grow this channel to a couple 100,000 subscribers, then that would be enough people to make a steady business just making content and videos for my audience. And so I did that for about a year, and then what happened is I started getting caught up in the whole startup culture and the mania surrounding startups. So I was seeing friends that were working for different startups, and I was seeing other friends that were getting big investments, and I was reading in all these the entrepreneur subreddits and all these other magazines, and it seemed like I was just getting bombarded with this message that in order to be a successful entrepreneur, then I needed to grow a big business. I needed to get investment money and grow one of these unicorn businesses like Uber or Airbnb or some of these other just massively successful, massively scalable businesses. And so that's what I started to go after. And then I started putting my energy into chasing this dream of building something really big, building something really scalable that I could then sell for, a whole bunch of money, instead of following my passion, which was fitness and video games, and combining those two and helping out gamers find their confidence and finding their own passions in life. Put so much time and so much effort into doing this, and that was the point where if you follow this channel for a long time, my content just started to drop off. And so there's been several points where my content just dropped off to the map. And one of those points was when I started chasing this idea of let's grow a really, really big business and let's build a really big startup and be successful like these other people that I see in the entrepreneur magazines and whatnot. And so I just worked my butt off, and I had this constant anxiety that I wasn't working hard enough, that I wasn't working fast enough, that I wasn't doing enough, because that's another thing that our culture tells us, right? It tells us that the path to success is to work 100 hours a week, and if you're an entrepreneur, you need to be drinking tons of caffeine, you need to be taking modafinil and Adderall and microdosing LSD and doing all this crazy stuff in order to be more productive in order to be more productive in your competition, and that's how you get success. So that was the point where I was drinking 7 or 8 cups of coffee a day, and it just started to really affect my health. It affected my mental health. And I got to this point where I was burnt out because I was not living from my heart. I was completely living from my mind. And my mind had bought into this idea of, what it takes to be successful in our modern world, which was to take a whole bunch of stimulants and to just work crazy hours and to really take no time off and no break and no time for yourself. And that's what I did. And it paid off to a certain extent. We were on the cusp of getting our angel round of investing, and we were, I was looking at, I would have a guaranteed paycheck for the next 2 years, and if the business succeeded, we would definitely sell it for many millions of dollars. But at this point, I was just so burnt out, and the rest of the story is I quit that business and I walked away, and then I went and hiked the Appalachian Trail. And I'm so happy that I did that. That was definitely the best decision that I could have made at that point, because now that I'm back, I'm able to live from my heart again. I've come back to doing Healthy Gamer. I've come back to doing personal training because those are things that I truly enjoy doing, and I don't have to take 4 cups of coffee to give me the energy to start doing it, right? So I think that's a key. If you're living a life where you have to, I hear from so many different people that when I tell them I don't drink caffeine anymore, they're like, wow, I can never do that. I can never start my days like that. I think that is a big warning sign. If what you're doing in life doesn't generate enough energy that you need to take artificial stimulants just to get up and get going in the morning in order to go to your job, I think that's a massive warning sign. And I really think that's one of the reasons why caffeine is so ubiquitous in our society, is because many of us are in positions, in jobs, doing things with our lives that we just couldn't work up the energy or the excitement for without an artificial boost from caffeine. I think it can be really hard to pull yourself out of our society's expectations, to pull yourself out and to really delayer yourself. So during the Appalachian Trail, for me, what I found that happened is that I peeled away the layers of the onion, right? So it was like I had all these different layers on top of me that came from the culture, that came from magazines, that came from TV, that came from friends and family, and all these layers were just different expectations and different ideas that weren't really my own. And so I peeled these away, and the more I peeled them away, the more I felt like I was centering in myself, and the more that I kind of got back in touch with my heart, and the more that I realized, like, oh, okay, this is who I am, instead of all these personas that I had put on, instead of all this just crap that I had adopted because those were the influences that were coming to me from our culture at large. And so if you can peel away all of these layers and really get to your true core self, that's when you can then make really clear, intentional decisions of, what do I want my life to be? What will success look like for my own life? But that's easier said than done. Many of us have been indoctrinated for so many years. It's really difficult to discern what is my true core self and what are things that have been attached to me because of our culture or our family or our society. So I think there are a couple of things that are really helpful in peeling away the layers of this onion and to dig down deep inside you to really find out, what do you want out of life? So I think one, spending time in nature. So you don't have to go hike the entire Appalachian Trail, but if you can find 3 to 5 days off and go backpacking for 3 to 5 days, I think you'll find immediately you start to get more in touch with yourself. I think there's something deeply profound about nature and deeply healing, because when you're out there, there's no bullshit. When you're out there, you don't have to put on a face anymore. You don't have to put on a persona. You're just you out there. And I think that is really profound and really helpful for you to find out who you are deep down at the core. Number 2, meditating, right? So being mindful, being meditation, sitting down and having quiet time every day will more and more get you in touch with who you are deep down at the core, and you can start to recognize, like, hey, this is a thought that is not my own. This is an idea that's just coming to me from the culture, and really not one that I that is my own. And the third one, really powerful, kind of goes along with meditation, is floating. So flotation tanks, I think, it's kind of like meditation on steroids. It allows you to get to such a deep place. It's super powerful. So you should go into nature, go into meditation, go into the float tanks with the intention of asking yourself, I want to know who I am at my core. I want to know what I truly want, what success really is for me, what will truly make me happy. And I want to follow my heart, and I don't want to be swayed by the influences of culture and society and whoever else. So I think that is the key right there, is to keep asking yourself that question. And it might take a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but if you just keep asking yourself that question, then it will become abundantly clear what it is that you need to do, right? That you, the soul that's driving your body, wants from you, rather than the mind and your ego and all these other things that are trying to impress other people. Because in the end, when you're trying to live a life for other people, then ultimately that is not going to bring happiness to you. And don't take this video to mean that I think it's somehow bad to have money or to have a house or have a car. My intention with personal training and with Healthy Gamers still is to build it up over the long term, so that I do have the money and the freedom to be able to travel wherever I want, to have a couple of houses in different places on the country. I want to have kind of a lot of land in somewhere out west, somewhere in the wilderness, and then have build kind of a resort on there, build a bunch of log cabins, and then be able to have people come out and do retreats. I think that would be really cool to be able to have like a place for gamers to come out and get reset, and have a gym on there, and to have like a yoga studio, and just people could come out for a week and reset and meet other like-minded people. I think that would be really cool, and that would take a lot of money to build. So that's one of my goals and my plans. But I think the distinction here is that my intention and my basis for doing all this has come back around full circle, back to the fact that I really enjoy helping people. I really enjoy learning more about fitness and success, and how to develop ourselves, and I enjoy sharing that knowledge on to other people, and that's what I'm trying to do, right? So whereas before with the startups, the primary concern was how do we build something really big and scalable so that we can make a lot of money, right? The money part was the primary concern, whereas what I'm doing now, the primary concern is how do I reach out and affect the lives of gamers and people and help them become confident and strong and happy and find success in their own lives, and then the money will follow, right? So if I can help, the more people I can help really change their lives, then that's a ton of value that should then translate into money, so that I can continue to do this and reach out to more people. And I think ultimately, really, the ironic thing is that I will find more material success following this latter route than I would have if I stuck to the startup route and tried, with that money-centric focus. And I think that was why I had to drink so much coffee, because ultimately, for me, and I think for every one of you, if money is the primary purpose of what you're doing, you will at some point lose your motivation to do this, because at the core, money is such an abstract idea, right? I think our subconscious mind can't even really fathom what it means to have $1 million or $100,000. Like, it's such this just abstract, right, numbers thing that our subconscious mind only speaks in pictures and emotions, and the numbers mean nothing to it. And so I think that's why ultimately, if money is your primary goal, you will fail, because you just won't be able to work up enough emotions, and emotions is what causes us to take massive action, right? You're not going to be able to work up enough emotions and enough excitement over the course of the long term to be able to stick it out until you can actually succeed in whatever business or whatever venture that you're doing. So I think that about covers it. I've been pretty long-winded with this post, but I'm really curious to know what you think about this video. So if you watched it, I want to thank you, and also I want to ask you to check out the link to the Patreon down below. So the more people I have on Patreon supporting this channel, the more time I can devote to making more videos, and that will just mean more content, more high quality content that answers your questions, that helps you live the life that you want to live. So really appreciate that. I want to thank Matt and Adam and Devesh already for coming on Patreon and helping out with that. So that's all I got for you today. Again, really appreciate your comments. They help keep me motivated. So thanks for watching, guys. Have an awesome day.